Hi, I am Srinivas Reddy Palam, lecturer in computer engineering, Kuli Qutub Shah Government Polytechnic, Hyderabad. I am going to handle the session on computer C programming language. In this session, I will discuss topic introduction to the C language. Let's see what we are going to discuss in this today's session. In this session, we will know how to understand the structure of a C language program and how to write your first C program. Also, we'll see. We'll also see the how to include preprocessor command in the C program, and also you will after going through this session, you will be able to create good identifiers for objects in a program, and you will be able to list, describe, and use the C basic data types. So we'll see different basic data types and their list in this session, and also we'll see how to create and use variables and constants, and we will also see how to input and output in this C program, and also we'll see simple state input and output statements in this session. Let's move to the first that is the background. Once you want to learn, once you decide to learn C programming, you should have some background about C programming. So C is a structured programming language. It is considered a high level language because it allows the programmer to concentrate on the problem at hand and not worry about the machine that the program will be using. So it mainly concentrates on the problem at hand, but not it worries about the machine that the program will be using. And this that is another reason why it is used by software developers whose applications have to run on many different hardware platforms. C programs. It's time to write our first C program, and in this we will discuss these topics like structure of a C program, and first C program. Also, we'll see how to insert comments in C program. Also, we'll see, and we will also see one sample program, that is a greeting program. That is the program that greets the user who runs this program. So the structure of C program, this is the structure of C program, where the structure of C program includes preprocessor directives at the first top of the program. That is at the topmost of the your C program, you will write preprocessor directives, and below it we will write global declarations. After that, we will write the main program, that is main part of our program, that will be written. So in this only, in this main function only, we'll write the logic of our program. Okay, so it contains the syntax like int main. Inside the main function, you will write some arguments. In this case, we have not written any argument, that's why we have written void only. And after that, the main function block will begin. Inside the main function block, at the top you will write the declarations which are local to this main function, that's why they are called local declarations. And also it will contain some statements related to the logic that is going to be handled or discussed in this main function. And after that, the end of your main function will start, that is nothing but end of your main function. And after that, we'll write some other functions which are required as part of our the program. Okay, this is the structure of C program. And we'll discuss these whenever we come to know the respective sections as part of discussion, whenever we discuss them. So let's see the sample program, that is a hello world program. In this hello world program, we have written one a hash include stdio.h, which is the preprocessor directive to include standard input output functions in the program. This section is preprocessor directive section, where we have written sample include statement, that is a hash include stdio.h, which means it includes standard input output functions from the header file, okay, into the current program. Okay, and after that, we have written the main function, where we have excluded the global declaration section, which you can see that it is optional, that's why it is not included in this particular greeting program. So that is optional. Okay, if you write it then you can use those global declarations inside our main function and other functions. But if it is not declared also, it is not a problem. Okay. And if you look at the program is containing one main function which is returning one integer variable, integer value. That's why the return type is mentioned here. So the function is returning integer value and its return type is int. And after that you can see the main function. In the main function we have some arguments which are not declared. We can, if you want, we can declare these arguments, local arguments, local to this function, or parameters, function parameters, which are now not included. That's why it is written as void. So the void means there are no parameters or null parameters. No parameter is being passed to this main function. And if you look at the beginning of the main function is indicated with a open flower bracket. After that you can see the one statement, that is printf hello world hash slash n. So that means you are going to print one statement, that is hello world, in this particular main function. And after that you are returning 0. Why? Because our main function return is having the return type int, so it should return some value. In this case it is returning 0. Okay. If you don't include this return, then it will give error in C programming compiler, C compilers. Otherwise you have to simply write void in place of int in the function declaration of main function. Okay, in the function definition, if you don't write int, then you have to write void, because it is not returning any value from this function. That is the meaning of this return type. Okay. So this greeting program, it is simply printing hello world as a greeting statement. And you can see the greeting program. This program demonstrates some of the components of a simple C program written by your name here. Date program written. Okay. So the written by means the first statement is comment section. It is a paragraph comment where you have written some paragraph indicating the name of the program and what it is going to do and who has written this program and when it was written. All these information should be included in this comment section. Okay. And multi-line comment statement, we can say that. And after that you can see the hash include stdio.h, which is a preprocessor directive which is being included into this particular greeting program. And after that you have written one main function which is returning integer value. That's why we have written int main void. And after that you can see local declarations. If you can write the local declarations, that those local declarations can be used in this particular main program itself. And after that you can write some statements here. And after that in this particular program the statement that is used is printf statement, and it is simply printing hello world. And after that it is going to print one next line, and it is returning some value that is 0. And that is because the main function is having the return type integer. And after that you have the end of main, which is indicated with a closed flower bracket. So if you understand this program, then we will move to the other session. I think you understood by my explanation. And let's move to the next slide. And here they have written block comments, examples of block comments. First one is a block comment. There they have written, this is a block comment that covers two lines. So the block comment should be written inside the forward slash star. After that whatever you have to write in the lines, so many number of lines you can include. As many number of lines you want, you can write those many number of lines. Those lines should be ended by star, that is asterisk symbol. And after that you have to again write the forward slash. And after that we have another example for the black comments. And the same thing, but it is now written in four lines. You can see four lines, where you can see the first line is, it is a very common style to put the opening token. and on a line by itself, followed by the documentation and then the closing token or a separate line. Some programmers also like to put asterisks at the beginning of each line to clearly mark the comment. You can see this is a multi-line or block comment where you have written 4 lines, 5 lines in the particular block, and all these lines will not be executed or compiled by the C program compiler. Okay, whatever may be the compiler will ignore by looking at these syntax of comment statements. They will simply ignore, and these statements will be written for the documentation purpose. And these will you can write whatever information you know about the particular program, who has written this particular program, when it was written, and what is the logic of the program. All these things you can write inside this particular block, and you can understand when you just look at the program. And we can have another, this is a whole line comment. So you have another type of comment statements where two forward slash are there, and after that whatever you have to write, that will be commented out. So it is a single line comment, a whole line comment. You can say it is a whole line comment, which is differing from the previous one, block comments, where you have written so many number of lines, and all those lines were included in between the forward slash star, and after that star and forward slash. And you can see the a equal to 5, which is giving the description about this particular a equal to 5. This is a partial line comment. So it is a single line comment, and it is also called as partial line comment. Now we will see different data types in C programming. We have the C types like void and integral, floating point, and derived. Where void is going to indicate that nothing is the type of the data. Okay, there is no particular data type, so you can convert that into the data type that is being required for you. Okay, and if you look at the integral type C type data types, you have integral data types like boolean, character, integer, and we will see them in detail in the next slides. And we have other data type like floating point, in which we have real, imaginary, and complex. And also we have derived data types in C programming. We will see all these data types in detail. And we have identifiers. What are identifiers? We'll see. One feature present in all computer languages is the identifier. So it is one of the features that is being present in all of the computer languages. Identifiers allow us to name data and other objects in the program. So identifiers allow us to name data and other objects in the program. So they basically give naming facility for the data and other objects in the program. Each identified object in the computer is stored at a unique address. So each object that is being identified will be stored at a unique address. And what is this address and all these things we will see in the coming sessions. If you look at the rules for identifiers, the first character must be alphabetic character or underscore. So the very first rule for the identifier is the first character of that particular identifier must be alphabetic character or underscore. Alphabetic in the sense they should begin only with capital A to capital Z, or small a to small z. Though the first character should be either underscore or small a to small z, or capital A to capital Z. And the identifiers must contain only of alphabetic characters, digits, or underscore. They should not contain other than these. So they should contain only alphabetic characters, small a to small z, capital A to capital Z, and digits between 0 to 9, and including 0 to 9 they can contain, and also they can contain underscore. But other type of characters are not allowed. First 63 characters of an identifier are significant. In the case of identifiers, the length can be more than 63 also, but the first 63 characters of an identifier are only significant, and they cannot duplicate a keyword. And the identifiers cannot be same as your keywords. An identifier must start with a letter or underscore. It may not have a space or a hyphen, so it cannot contain a space or hyphen in between, but they can contain underscore in between, and it must and should start with a letter or underscore. Letter in the sense they are alphabetic, that is small a to small z or capital A to capital Z they can contain, but in between the particular letters and words, you can say it should not contain space or hyphen. If it contains, it is illegal and it is invalid. And also C is a case sensitive language, so identifiers written in one case or even though they are looking alike, like A R E. If you write A R E in small letter and in capital letter also, if you write A R E, both are looking similar, but they are different in the case of C programming, because they are differing in the case. That is one of the all the letters in first A R E are smaller or lower case, and in the second one A R E, capital A R E, all the three A R E are capital only, and it is differing from the lowercase one. That's why they are different. We can see some of these examples from this table, where small a is a valid but poor style, and dollar sum, this is invalid, where dollar should not be the first character. Why? Because the identifier rules, it says that identifiers they should start with either a alphabet or underscore only. But whereas in this particular example, dollar sum, the first character of your identifier is started with dollar, which is special symbol, and it should not be written in the first letter, and it is illegal. That's why. And we can see another example for the valid name, student underscore name, where the underscore is being used for separating two words, student and name, and it is also valid. Underscore a system name is also valid. Why? Because the identifiers they can start with the first character as underscore and alphabets, where in this example the underscore is the allowed character and it is valid. And you can see the other example for the invalid name, that is some hyphen salary, because it is invalid because it contains hyphen in between sum and salary. That's why it is invalid. And the valid example valid name, and you can see underscore bull. Google system ID is a valid name because the first character of your identifier is starting with the underscore, and it is valid one. And you can see the invalid name for the invalid identifier example is stdnt hyphen space number nmbr, and it is invalid because it contains space in between stdnt and capital N small m br. That's why it is a invalid name for the identifier. And you can see the valid example for the valid identifier, int capital int underscore min int min. The int and min are separated with are added combined with the underscore, and it is allowed the allowed character for the identifier rules, and that's why it is valid. Whereas you can see the other example int, which is same as the keyword or reserved word, which is used for basically identifying the integer data types or for writing the declaration of the integer variables. So it is keyword, and identifiers cannot duplicate keywords or reserved words, and that's why it is invalid name for the identifier. So this is the table, and by this table you can understand the what are valid and invalid names for identifiers. And now we move to the other slide, that is types. C types, data types. You can say types in the sense they are just data types. A type defines a set of values and a set of operations that can be applied on those values. So what is basically a type is, type it defines a set of values and a set of operations that can be applied on those values. So based on the type you can you can know what are the set of values that are possible with this particular type, and also the set of operations that can be applied on those values. All these things can be understood if you know the C data types. That's why it is important to understand this concept. And now let's see the topics that are going to be discussed in this types section. So in this types section, we will discuss void type, and also we'll see integral type, and we will also discuss floating point types. So the C types, as already mentioned in the previous slide, you can have different types like void, integral type, floating point, and derived type. In the integral type, we can again have Boolean, character, and integer. Whereas in the case of floating point, we can have real, imaginary, and complex one. And derived, we will see all these different types. So and you can say integral, floating point types are the primitive types, and derived type is the other one that is differing from the primitive type or primary data types in C programming or C programming language. And you can have character types like char and wchar underscore t, and we will see what is char and wchar underscore t. And we have integer types like short int, long int. These are the types in the integral type or integer types. So short int is differing from the int, and int is different from the long int, and long int is again different from the long int. And you can see by looking at the figure, you can know the range of these particular integer types also. Short integer is smaller in range, so it can store a very small number of integers in it, and you can store more than what you can store in the short int in case of integer type. And long int can store even more number of integers or decimals in the case of when it is compared with only integer type. Long int is again having more range, greater range, where it can store larger number of integers when you compare with long int and short int. So by the observation, you can understand the hierarchy. The short int is having lower numbers, lower group of numbers that can be accommodated in it, and int can accommodate more number of numbers or integers when you compare with short int, but lesser than long int. And long int can accommodate more number of integers when you compare it with int and short int, and it cannot accommodate more than what you can accommodate in long int. But long int can accommodate more number of integers, and it can have more range, that is bigger range when you compare with long int and short int. You can see the figure and you can understand what I explained. So the same can be understood by this particular note, where the size of is a function that will return the size of the particular data type that you are going to use, or you want to find the size of the particular type. So size of short will give the size of the short, and size of int will give the size of the integers, and size of long will give the size of the long type integers, and size of long will give the size of the long integer types. And you can see the ascending order. So short is less than or equal to int, and int is less than or equal to long, and long is less than or equal to long in terms of sizes of them. From this particular table, you can see the particular sizes of them, and the minimum value that can be accommodated in the particular type, and the maximum value that can be accommodated in it. And short int, you can observe short int, the size in terms of bytes is 2 bytes, and its minimum value is -32768, whereas the maximum value is 32767. And if you take the integer type of data, the byte size is 4 bytes, and its minimum value is -21474836648, and its maximum value is 2147483647. And the type of long int has the byte size which is 4 bytes in size, and minimum value is -21474483648, and the maximum value that can be fitted in this long int is 2147483647. Long int can accommodate up to 8 bytes of data, and the size is 8 byte size, and the minimum value is -9223372036854775807. And you can have the maximum value, which is 9223372 036 854 775 806, and this completes the explanation about our particular data types, that is integer type. You can have the integer types like short int, long int, and long int, and we have seen the byte sizes. In terms of the byte sizes, short int will occupy 2 bytes, int will occupy 4, whereas long int will also occupy 4 bytes, and long int will occupy double the size of long int, that is 8 bytes in size. And the ranges are also the minimum value and maximum values respectively, we can see from the table. Now, if you look at this particular slide, you can observe the floating point types, where your floating point types are having float, double, and long double as the respective data types in the floating point types category. And float is the first one, where it gives lower range for the numbers that are going to be stored in the data type, in this particular data type, and double will have the more number of floating point numbers when you compare with float, whereas long double will be having more when more than numbers compared to double and float. Size that is, size of float is less than or equal to size of double, and size of double is less than or equal to size of long double. So float will be lesser than double, and double will be lesser than long double. హలో హలో మేడం నెంబర్ సేవ్ చేసాను, చెప్పండి. ఆన్లైన్ క్లాస్ చేస్తున్నాను మేడం, నేను ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ అయితే చేస్తాను మేడం. అని మెసేజ్ చేస్తాను నెంబర్. మధుసూదన్ అండి. ఓకే. So if you look at the particular data type, um, that is category, we have category one, that is void, and the type that is that can be found use find is. We have void type, and the C implementation. The in the C implementation we will write it as void. It is case sensitive. And integral type, we have in the integral type we have boolean, character, integer. మేడం చెప్పండి మేడం. నేనే శ్రీనివాస్ రెడ్డి, మేము పంపాను. రెండు ఉన్నాయి, రెండు ఉన్నాయి. కాదు కాదు, మీకు మెసేజ్ చేస్తుంది. In the integral type, we have type like boolean, where C implementation is bol in lowercase, and character we have char and wchar underscore t, and in the integer type we have integer type. In C implementation will include short int, long int, and in the floating point type we have types like real, where C implementation has float, double, long double, and in the imaginary type we have float imaginary, double imaginary, long double imaginary, and in the complex we have float complex, double complex, long double complex. These are the types that are allowed in C programming. Now let's move to the other session, other topic that is variables. So we'll see variables in this particular slide. What are variables? Variables are named memory locations that have a type such as integer or character, which is inherited from their type. So variables are named memory locations that have a type such as integer or character, and which is inherited from their type. The type determines the values that a variable may contain and the operations that may be used with its value. So the type determines the value that a variable may contain and the operations that may be used with its value. Topics that are going to be discussed in this session include variable declaration and a variable initialization. So we will see how to declare variables, and also we'll see how to initialize the particular variables. So let's see the examples. The first example is char, which is a character variable declaration. The variable type is char and the variable identifier is code. So the name of the memory location is code and its data type is character, and it can store only characters in it. And the other second example is int I, where the variable type is int and its variable identifier, that is name of the variable is I. So it can store only integers in this particular identifier or location. So in this particular location you can store the integers in it. And we have the other example for the identifier or variables, that is long, and the name of the particular variable or identifier is national underscore debit, which is following the rules of the variables or identifiers declaration, where the underscore is used to combine the two names, two different words, national and debit. And we have the other example float, and the float pay rate, where you can store only floating point values in it. And you have the other example double, and its identifier or variable name is pi. It can store only double values in it. And we can, from the examples of these variables, the first example can store only characters in it, and the second one can store integers in it. The third can store long type of integers in it, and the fourth one can store floating point numbers, and the fifth one can store double values in it. The example, some few more examples for the variable declarations and their definitions. The first one is bool fact. The first one is a boolean variable whose name is fact, and it can store only boolean values like 0 and 1 can be stored in this particular fact variable. And you can have the other example short max items, and it can store only short type of integers in it. And long national underscore debit, so it can store long values in it. And you can have the word separator, that is underscore in it. Float pair rate, word separator capital. So here you can observe the words are separated with underscore one once, and they are separated by having the separate word started with the capital letters. And we have the example double tax. This is a double variable which can store only double values in it. And the other example is float complex voltage, which is invalid. Why? Because we have the words separated with space in between them. That's why it is not following the rules of the variables declarations. So it is invalid variable, and it will give the error. Compiler, once it compiles this particular statement, or when it looks at this particular statement, it will give error or it will throw error. And we have the other example char code kind, and we have this one is correct one, but we have poor style. Why? Because the code and kind are separated by one comma, and after that there is a space. Why? Because the space should not be should not have been used. Why? Because it is confusing whether the code and kind are belonging to the same word, or they are different character variables. And we have the example int a comma b, which is also correct one, but it is poor one. Why? Because it is also having the space after the first variable declaration and the second one. You can see how the particular character code is being initialized with some value, that is b. And you can see integer how it is initialized. Int I equal to 14, it is called initialization, variable initialization, because variables are declared and also they are being assigned some values. And at the particular memory location that is being pointed out by this particular variable name, the value will be stored. That's why it is called a variable initialization. And also you can see the examples for long natl underscore debit. Also you can see the initialization, which is correct as per the variable initialization rules. And also you can see the float pair rate equal to 14.25, and it is why? Because the value is 14.25, which is a fractional one, decimal followed by fractional. And it is correct one. Why? Because it is a floating point value, floating point integer value. And double pi equal to 3.1415, 926536, it is also correct. Why? Because it is also a double value, and it is how this value, particular value, is stored in the memory is also shown in the beside the particular variables initializations. You can see them and you can understand how they are going to be stored in the memory. When a variable is defined, it is not initialized. We must initialize any variable requiring prescribed data when the function starts. So whenever a variable is defined, it is not going to be initialized, but we must initialize any variable requiring prescribed data when the function starts. You must explicitly initialize them. Print sum of three numbers. This program calculates and prints the sum of three numbers input by the user at the keyboard. And you can see that this is a documentation section, and it is a multi-line comment statement where the lines, four lines are commented out, and these four lines will be ignored by the compiler whenever the compiler is compiling this particular program, that is printing of sum of three numbers. And you can find the preprocessor section, that is include preprocessor include directive include stdio.h, which includes std standard input output functions in it. You have now you have the main function. In the main function, it is returning one integer value, and it is going to accept no arguments. That's why the inside the main function you have wide keyword written. Why? Because it is not accepting any arguments for this particular main function. And you have local declarations in the main function. The local declarations, we have the local variables like a, b, c, and some. All these are integers, as you can see from their data type declaration. And also you can have the statements like printf slash n welcome, this program adds. So this particular statement will print the statement welcome, this program adds. And the other statement, three numbers, enter three numbers in the form triple n triple n triple n. So you have to enter numbers, and these numbers are all integers. You can observe from the scanf statement, which is a input statement which is asking for the numbers to be entered. All these three numbers are integer numbers, and their respective values are going to be stored at the addresses A, B, C pointed out by them, and they will store only integers in them. After that, you have used one of the variable, that is local variable, and that is being assigned with the addition of a, b, c that were entered by the scanf statement from the keyboard. And this will add the numbers a, b, c, which are integers, and the result will be assigned into the statement, assigned into the variable sum variable. And after that you have the printf statement, where in the printf statement you are printing the total is percentage d slash n comma sum. So it will print the total is sum of a, b, c, whatever the values that you have entered, those all three numbers will be summed up, and the result will be printed or stored into sum, and the total will be printed in it. And the printf thank you, have a great day, have a good day is also printed as it is, because it is a simple printf output statement, and inside it you supplied only something which is a string, and that will be printed as it is. Thank you, have a good day. And since this function, main function, is returning a integer value, as you can see from the return type for this particular printf function, it is going to have a last statement, that is return 0. Otherwise the particular compiler that you are using for compiling this program will throw the error, and that's why you are going to return some value that is integer, that is 0 in this particular case. And you can see the output, as you can see from the program. If you know, if you understand the program clearly, you can expect this particular output. The results will be printed first, and then welcome, this program adds three numbers, enter three numbers in the form triple n triple n triple n, return double one double two double three is the number. So those numbers a, b, c are like 1 1 11 22 and 33. The sum of these three numbers is 66, that is the total is 66. So sum will become 11 plus 22 plus 33, that is 66, and the total is now in place of sum it is substituted with 66. And the last statement that is printed is thank you, have a good day, that is as printed as it is in the printf statement of your final main function statement. Now we'll see the constants in C programming. Constants are data values that cannot be changed during the execution of a program. Like variables, constants have a type. In this section, we discuss Boolean, character, integer, real, complex, and string constants. So we'll see how to represent them, and also we'll see the coding constants. Character constant is enclosed in single quotes. So the character constants will be enclosed in single quotes. ASCII character of a particular ASCII character, null character, the symbolic name is in single quotes. You have to write backward slash, and then you followed by that you have to write 0. That will indicate null character. This is the null character. And alert bell symbol, which is written like in between single quotes. The forward slash followed by a backspace will be written like in single quotes. You have to write backslash b, horizontal tab single quotes, in between the single quotes you have to write backslash t, new line in between single quotes you have to write backslash n, vertical tab in between single quotes you have to write backslash v, form field in between single quotes you have to write backslash f, carriage return backslash forward in between single quotes you have to write backslash r, and a simple single quote you can write like in between single quotes you have to write backward slash followed by single quote, and double quote you can see which is similar to the single quote, but whereas in place of single quote in between the single quotations after the uh, backslash you have to write double quotes that will indicate double quote, and backslash, the simple backslash can be obtained by writing the in between single quotes you have to write backslash and followed by the backslash, although the single quotes are included with two backslashes, only one backslash will be printed. That is the meaning of the this particular symbolic name. So it will print only backslash. So if you want to print a backslash, you can write this particular symbolic name in C programming so that it will print backslash character. And the representation value and type. So the particular representation, that is plus 123, it will give the value, it has the value 123 and its type is integer. Minus 370 is the representation that is being used in suppose in a program, and its value will be minus 370, that is negative 370, negative integer, that is 378, and its type is also integer. So integers will have both positive and negative values, but depending on the symbol they can be called either positive integer or negative integer, as you can see. And the representation, if you use the representation minus 32271 followed by L, then its value is minus 32,271, whose type is long integer. So the particular capital L will indicate that it is long integer, and 76542LU will indicate unsigned long int, and the value is 76,542, and its type is unsigned long int. As you can see there is no sign, and which is indicated with L, and L is the long and U is the unsigned, so it will indicate unsigned long int. And you can also observe 12789845 which is indicating that long type is used, and its value is 12789,845, and its type is long integer. Examples of long integers, examples of integer constants, that is the table that we discussed, and if you use the representation 0 point, its value is 0 0.0 and its type is double, and 0.0 is also the same value is 0 0.0 and its type is double. 2.0, if you use the representation its value is 2.0 and it is also double. 3.1416, if it is the representation then the value is 3.1416 and its type is double. Minus 2.0f, which indicates that its value is minus 2.0 and its type is float, whereas if you write 3.1415926536L, then it will represent long double, and its value is 3.1415926536. You can ignore L, ignoring L will give the value, and you by including L you can know that it is a long type of double value, which is similar to the float, but it has a long included in it, so that's why it is called long double. These are some other examples for the strings. Inside a double quotes, if you don't write anything, then it is called a null string. And inside a double quotes, if you write something like H, it is a string. And another example, hello world is also a string, and how are you is also a string. Good morning, it is also string, and they should be written in double quotes. L followed by double quote. This string contains wide characters. This is also a string. And we have null character that is represented as we have seen in the previous slide itself, that is null character. You can write null character by including this backslash followed by zero in between the single quotation, that is called null character, whereas empty string is different from the null character, and you have to write double quotations, and in between you should not write anything, then it will be called null string. Use single quotes for character constants, use double quotes for string constants. This is the difference that you have to note and understand. So you have to use single quotes for only character constants, and double quotes can be used for string constants. And we have another one more example program which demonstrates memory constant. This program demonstrates three ways to use constants written by date include stdio.h has defined pi 3.14 15926536. So pi is defined, and we have a main function in which we declared main local variable constant double c pi equal to pi, and constant printf define constant pi percentage f slash n pi printf memory constant cpi percentage f slash n pi. And the program has one more line, that is printf literal constants percentage f slash n 3.1415926 return 0. Results will be printed once you compile this program. The results will be printed. Defined constant pi is 3.141593. Memory constant is also the same value c pi equal to 3.141593. Literal constant is also same 3.141593. This completes today's session. Thank you. And in the other session, we will see some other topic. Thank you for your patience.